welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. You know, producing these, making these, it's fascinating because where, which direction are things going to go in, and what are you going to start with, and what are you going to follow that with, and decisions, and so I think I'm going to start with showing this book to you, Krakatoa, The Eruption of Krakatoa, and it's in a Great Disasters series. They don't list the author's name on the cover, which I think is too bad. So I found this book a fascinating book, and since we've been looking at things like Allen's sinking, vanishing, extinction, it seemed like perhaps a good place to start. Though we were also looking at balloons, and I wanted to start with balloons. And I didn't flip a coin, but I'm going to start with this book. First of all, it has a map. Good old library book sales. I was pretty excited when I found this because I'd heard about this, but I didn't know much about it. And so there's a map here. There's a string of islands that runs below Thailand, and it finishes up here. Bali's one of the islands, but the islands go Sumatra, Java, and then Bali, and the other islands that are shown here. And between Sumatra and Java, there are a number of small, tiny islands, and Krakatoa is one of those islands. And Krakatoa is remembered by people because though it was Indonesian fishermen and farmers and outrigger canoes and rice paddies, and something happened. I'm just going to turn to the back because it's got the information I want. For a little over 200 years, Krakatoa had been dormant until 1883. May 20th, 1883, Krakatoa erupts, pouring out ash and smoke. Well, that's a warning. And a few months go by, June, July, August, 3 months go by. August 26th, violent explosion shakes Krakatoa. The next day, August 27th, 1883, massive explosion. Most of Krakatoa sinks beneath the sea. Well, this book's got amazing photographs, old documents, explains things with charts, and it's, I just think they did a great job of telling about this event. And then, 44 years later, something happens. And so 1927, check out what happened then. Now, I read this book a long time ago. It's by William Penn Du Bois, and it's called the 21 balloons. It won the Newbery Award. These were awards in the United States for the best book, children's book, fiction, published in 1947, which would put it about 75 years ago. William Penn not only writes a story, but he draws the illustrations, and it's about a balloon trip. And chapter 1 begins this way: Professor Sherman's Incredible Loyalty. The Western American Explorers Club in the city of San Francisco, San Francisco is shown on this right here, was honored as it had never been honored before in the first week of October 1883 by being promised to be the first to hear the details of an unexplained, extraordinary adventure. The biggest news story of the year, the story the whole world was waiting impatiently to hear, the tale of Professor William Waterman Sherman's singular voyage. Professor Sherman had left San Francisco August 15th. He flew off in a giant balloon, telling reporters that he hoped to be the first man to fly across the Pacific Ocean. 3 weeks later, he was picked up in the Atlantic Ocean, half-starved and exhausted, clinging to the debris of 20 deflated balloons. How he found himself in the Atlantic with so many balloons after starting out over the Pacific with one caught and baffled the imagination of the world. So, quite a balloon story. Here's a story about a young man who likes to eat, and he gets a bit of a balloon as well, and he's finally sent away to a private school by William Penn Du Bois. It's called Porco von Popbutton, and it's an amazing story of transformation, and very humorous. I read it to classes, grade 7, grade 5, grade 9, a neat read aloud. This book, my oldest son really loved it. He's read it several times. It's called A Fresh Wind in the Willows. It's a wind in the willows telling, but it involves this hot air balloon. Here's a hot air balloon story. Bertrand Piccard had been making several attempts to fly around the world, not in 80 days, but to make it around the world in a hot air balloon. And it's featured in the National Geographic Around at Last, and that was 1999. Got it in the last century. This is a book just to talk a little bit off on a side tangent about flying through the air, getting that view down on the world beneath. Leonardo da Vinci did a lot of designs and drawings and inventions, and this book carries copies of his notebooks, his original notebooks. That they haven't made it up, they've copied his designs and working. They may have added a model to show that how that got used, and it's broken up into a number of aeronautics is the first unit, and so I thought I'd let you know that that exists as well. Now, airborne. People playing around with the idea of being airborne. There's a hot air balloon on the back. The search for the secret of flight. Richard Maurer. Huck Scary. Now, the name Huck. Huckleberry Finn. Huck. Well, that was the name of a character in Richard Scary's. It's his son. Huck Scary did a number of books. He was very much interested in travel and transportation, trains and different things, and things that fly, from balloons to jet planes. And my children really enjoyed his all his work. I'll just show you. There we're looking at some section on balloons, lots of history and lots of detail. Nice layout. Well, thank you for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.